Well, folks, it finally happened. Germany held an election, and much like a Wagner opera, it was long, dramatic, and somebody definitely got stabbed in the back. I'm talking, of course, about the political career of, well, we'll get to that. The point is, German voters waltzed into those voting booths and managed to turn the country on its head. So, put on your lederhosen, grab a stein of sparkling water, because apparently, that's what you people drink. And let's unpack the 5 key takeaways from this political sausage fest. Let's start with the biggest winner of the night, a man who looks like he gives lectures on the history of doorknobs, Friedrich Merz. You might remember him from such hits as losing to Angela Merkel twice and being incredibly bland, but somehow still winning. That's right, after years of playing political Eeyore, Merz is finally the belle of the ball, albeit a ball where everyone's wearing orthopedic shoes and arguing about tax brackets. Now, Merz's Christian Democrats, the party that makes Mitt Romney look like a raging anarchist, are poised to form a government. How did they do it, you ask? Well, imagine the political equivalent of plain yogurt. Not Greek yogurt, mind you, which is far too exciting for the CDU. No, we're talking about the kind of yogurt that makes you wonder if you accidentally bought sour cream. Merz is basically the embodiment of that yogurt. He's not going to offend anyone, he's not going to inspire anyone, he's just there. But in these uncertain times, maybe that's what Germany wants. A leader who's as exciting as watching paint dry, but just as reliable. Or maybe it was the whole vaguely threatening to bring back mandatory military service thing that did it. It's hard to say, German politics are weird. You know what they say, you can take the politician out of the White House, but you can't take the politician out of the White House. But you also can't stop them from influencing international elections from their golf course in Florida. That's right, folks. Donald Trump, a man who once thought Finland was part of Russia, somehow managed to worm his way into the German election. See, it all started with everyone's favorite sentient jar of mayonnaise, J.D. Vance. Vance, who apparently learned his foreign policy from watching Red Dawn on repeat, decided to grace Germany with his presence in the form of a video message. In it, he basically told Germans that if they didn't elect a bunch of right-wing nutjobs, America would abandon NATO and let Putin turn Berlin into a parking lot. Now you might think that Germans, being, German, would laugh off such a ridiculous threat. But remember, this is a country that once tried to invade Russia in winter. Twice. They're not exactly known for their sound judgment when it comes to international relations. So, Vance's little stunt, combined with Trump's constant badgering about NATO spending, actually managed to scare some German voters into thinking that America was one election away from turning into a rogue state. And who wants to be allies with a country that's one bad hair day away from invading Canada? Musk, more like Mesk. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite Bond villain in training, Elon Musk. Musk, a man who once named his child after a series of keyboard symbols, apparently decided that he wasn't content with just launching cars into space and trying to implant chips in people's brains. No, he also wanted to play kingmaker in German politics. So, in a move that surprised absolutely no one, Musk decided to throw his considerable weight, and by that I mean Twitter followers, behind the Alternative for Germany Party, or AfD. The AfD, in case you're not familiar with them, are basically what would happen if you took all the worst parts of the Republican Party, added a dash of xenophobia, and then translated it all into German. Now the AfD has been gaining traction in recent years mostly by exploiting people's fears about immigration, and with Musk's endorsement, some people thought they might actually have a shot at winning the whole shebang. But as it turns out, even the combined power of Musk's billions and the AfD's fear-mongering wasn't enough to sway German voters. Maybe it was Musk's whole, let's just let Putin do whatever he wants with Ukraine stance that turned people off, or maybe Germans just realized that getting their political opinions from a guy who names his kids after Wi-Fi passwords is a bad idea. Surprise, the left is alright. Now for the biggest surprise of the night, a party that makes Bernie Sanders look like a Wall Street banker. I'm talking, of course, about Die Linke, the far-left party that's been called everything from communist to radical to slightly more left-leaning than your average barista. For years, Die Linke has been the political equivalent of that weird uncle you only see at family reunions. You know, the one who wears sandals with socks and tells long, rambling stories about the time he met Fidel Castro. They were the party that everyone knew about, but nobody really took seriously. But something strange happened on the way to the election. Die Linke, under new leadership and with a surprisingly savvy social media presence, managed to tap into a vein of discontent among young voters. They ran on a platform of, well, pretty much everything the establishment is against. Higher taxes on the wealthy, free healthcare, free education, free puppies for everyone. Okay, maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. And somehow, it worked. Die Linke, the party that was once left for dead, managed to pull off a Lazarus-like comeback, becoming a major player in German politics. It's enough to make you wonder if maybe, just maybe, the political revolution is being televised after all. Scholz, gone, but not forgotten, probably. And finally, we come to the biggest loser of the night, a man who looks like he could be your dad, if your dad was a slightly less charismatic version of Ned Flanders. I'm talking, of course, about Olaf Scholz, the outgoing Chancellor of Germany. Now, Scholz isn't exactly known for his charisma. He's the kind of guy who could put a room full of insomniacs to sleep with his speeches. But he was seen as a steady hand, a safe pair of hands, a pair of hands that you wouldn't mind holding your beer while you went to the bathroom at a party. But apparently, being a boring but competent leader isn't enough these days. Scholz and his Social Democratic Party got absolutely shellacked in the election, coming in a distant third. It's enough to make you wonder if maybe, just maybe, Germans are finally tired of being governed by a bunch of middle-aged men in sensible shoes. But don't count Scholz out just yet. His party is still a major force in German politics, and they're likely to be a key partner in any future coalition government. So, while Scholz might be gone from the Chancellor's office, he's not gone from German politics. He's like that stain on your favorite shirt. You can try to wash it out, but it's always going to be there, lurking in the background, reminding you of that time you accidentally spilled ketchup on yourself. So there you have it, folks. The 5 key takeaways from the German election. A Merz-led government, the lingering specter of Trump, Musk's failed foray into European politics, the surprise surge of Die Linke, and the unceremonious dumping of Olaf Scholz. It's enough to make your head spin faster than a Bavarian folk dancer after a few too many steins of sparkling water. But one thing's for sure, German politics just got a whole lot more interesting. And as the country navigates these uncharted waters, one can only wonder what the future holds. Will Merz be able to unite the country and lead it into a new era of prosperity? Will Trump continue to haunt German politics from beyond the grave, or at least from beyond the golf course? Will Die Linke be able to turn their newfound popularity into lasting change? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be one hell of a ride. So buckle up, folks, and get ready for the wild ride that is German politics. And whatever you do, try to avoid making eye contact with J.D. Vance. That man's stare could curdle milk. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more updates.